much worse.
The late 90s was still a time when you could go into a movie without being spoiled completely by a random image or post seen online.
Ironically, this is not far from the truth.
These days, even the studios themselves don't give you a chance to go into a film without getting the twist before it's too late. Over the last 3 years of the 90s, I was able to experience the glory of going into a mind bleep of a movie 3 times. One was Dark City in 1998. The last was the grandfather of all mind bleeps, The Matrix in 1999. But the one that not enough people give credit to for just how insane it was to experience was in 1997 with Event Horizon.
We're leaving.
Event Horizon, just by seeing the poster, was maybe an Alien type of film. You weren't sure, honestly. And when I went into the theater, boy was I in for a wild ride, and so were audiences. Sadly though, when it was released, Event Horizon disappeared into the dark. Critics didn't like it, and the film, like the crew of the ship, were dead on arrival with only a $42 million box office with a $60 million budget.
What happened to your eyes?
Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see.
But over the years, Event Horizon has become a cult classic, and for good reason. The film is brutal, beautiful, and has a depth to the story and design that goes beyond the typical fare that Paul Anderson has produced with the Resident Evil franchise or movies like The Three Musketeers.
Don't lose your head!
Where many of his films are literally video games, Event Horizon is a horrifying peek into obsession and literal hell. So let's journey into the unknown as we chart the path of Event Horizon. Event Horizon actually started out as a very Alien type of film, but Anderson didn't want to do another film ripping off the granddaddy of sci-fi horror. So he redid the script, with it evolving into what they called a haunted house in space story, but would actually be much, much more.
I'm waiting.
This included bringing in Seven writer Andrew Kevin Walker, who would bring hell with him. The story would evolve into one about a doctor, William Weir, who was asked to come on what would be a recovery mission for the ship he designed, the Event Horizon, which appears seemingly desolate and unmanned after being lost. The crew of the Lewis and Clark, led by Captain Miller, go to the ship, and that's when the absolute horror of what has happened quickly starts, and the crew, one by one, pay the price. The Event Horizon has returned from literal hell, and it's possessed by the demonic forces it has encountered, having already decimated the original crew and passengers in horrible, terrifying ways. The film follows the crew of the Lewis and Clark as they realize what's been done and what is killing off their crew as it had the others. Everything leads up to an explosive finale that's almost ambiguous, as the Event Horizon may very well still be in evil's grip.
Did you really think you could destroy this ship?
Anderson's film was dark. Again, this can't be implied enough. When the original cut was turned in, it received an NC-17 rating, which was a surprise to the studio and resulted in the film getting cut down to where it got an R rating upon release. Anderson's rewrite turns the film into a hybrid of many inspirations, as well as taking cues from hell's representations over centuries. That meant the hell scenes shown in the film went hard. Scenes were inspired by classic and Renaissance paintings showing the tortures of hell, like those by Bosch. The original crew's deaths and tortures were extreme. Scenes included intestines being ripped out, cannibalistic orgies, body parts including breasts being removed, god-awful dental torture, and more. Real amputees were used for the dissection scenes, so that gives you an idea of why the NC-17 rating happened. Oh, and adult film actors were used to ensure realism for the orgy and sex scenes. Apparently, 30 minutes of total film footage was cut, leaving the film at a brisk 96 minutes. The original cut was supposedly found at one point over 10 years ago, but word is that it had to be destroyed due to something regarding the process of restoring it. Or maybe hell just wanted its family videos back. Apparently, some of these scenes wound up in a salt mine in Dracula Land, aka Transylvania. No, really. Event Horizon, the ship itself, was beautifully designed and again based off actual art and writings like Dante's Inferno and heavily inspired by Hellraiser. I dare you to look at Sam Neill's final appearance in this and not think Cenobite.
Yes. I see.
Notre Dame was also utilized for some of the Event Horizon's design. There are also hidden coffin shapes in corridors. As I said, within the film are inspirations from other movies. Hellraiser, obviously. But for those that remember, Sam Neill himself played the Antichrist in The Omen, The Final Conflict. Yes, kids, Alan Grant was a really bad man way back when. Weir's wife Claire's suicide reminds me quite a bit of what we find in the room in The Shining. In fact, quite a bit of the film reminds me of The Shining, with the Event Horizon becoming much like the Overlook Hotel, a place corrupted by the evil and spirits that have been hosted within it. The distress signal calling out "Save me" in Latin reminds me quite a bit of The Exorcist, where Regan's skin echoes a plea of "help me." Another nod seems to be to the movie Solaris, which has a rather dark relationship at its heart, with the main character finding a resurrected version of his wife, who actually killed herself after he leaves her. On the ship, she returns over and over because either he kills her or she kills herself. The special effects and design of the film were quite amazing for such a low budget. The sets themselves were all in a studio at Pinewood. Michael Kamen and the group Orbital did a mashup sort of score for the film, which worked really well, and sort of matched the film in combining classic aesthetics with futuristic visuals. The cast of the film is spectacular. I've already mentioned Sam Neill, who seems made for horror films and unhinged characters. Please watch Possession if you haven't yet, and then come back and tell me how it made you feel. Lawrence Fishburne, as Captain Miller, was a fantastic choice and would wind up creating an epic character in Morpheus 2 years later in The Matrix. But here, he delivered one of the best last line deliveries of the 90s.
I see.
Jolie Richardson would be Stark, a character who was originally written for a man. Jason Isaacs would be DJ, the medical officer. Sean Pertwee, son of the third Doctor Who John Pertwee, would portray Smitty the pilot. Pertwee would work with Anderson the following year in Soldier. Jack Noseworthy would play Justin, who has a very rough time out of and in the ship. Richard T. Jones would play Cooper, who has one of the most hilarious lines in the movie concerning getting something hot and black in you.
You like something hot and black inside you? Ooh, is that an offer?
It is not.
Yeah, it's not an original line, but it's still funny. As I said, when it was released, the film didn't do well. But over the last, nearly 30 years, it's become a classic to many thanks to what we've said already, but also as people delve into the film. Event Horizon meshed science fiction with spiritual horror and created something unique. While Hellraiser Bloodlines attempted this by bringing Pinhead to space, Event Horizon did it with a unique story that delved into a sort of darkness within us all. My personal theory that I actually came up with when I saw the movie the first time makes a lot of sense, especially with the obsession and way Dr. Weir reacts when everything happens on the ship. And here's my theory, and if Anderson ever sees this, please have him answer if this is true. I believe that Weir, who was a scientist who believed in an actual hell, built the ship secretly for that purpose. The way so much of the ship was designed, but also the drive itself that powered it. I think he utilized occultism and mixed with science to find a way into hell, the black hole as it were. Interestingly, Disney's Black Hole would also show us a literal hell for its main villain to abide in for eternity. The reason I think this is the simple fact that in a lot of Christian mythology, suicides go to hell, and Claire's death was via suicide. Weir built the Event Horizon to find his wife, and he does. It's also interesting to me that he becomes blinded, but able to see after his run-in with her. Perhaps a nod to the fact he was blind to her and her depression in life, but now blinded in death. He sees her and all the horrors of hell. Over the years, Event Horizon has become a great discussion film, with many horror writers and aficionados praising it as a very ambitious work that meshes the genres together in a unique and terrifying way. Last year, it was actually voted by Variety as the 94th greatest horror film of all time. Not small praise. This year, the world returned to Event Horizon thanks to IDW Comics, which actually told the prequel story. That is what actually happened to the crew of the Event Horizon with Event Horizon Dark Descent. The comic makes it clear that Paimon, the King of Hell, is the one who has motivated the creation of the ship, using Weir's dead wife as the lure to influence him into completing the vessel. And while it's not confirmed that Weir made this choice himself knowingly, it's made clear in the comic he was influenced. The comic goes hard when it comes to the blood and gore and the true horror of what happened to the crew. And no one at all is safe because, well, we know what happens to them, much like Last Voyage of the Demeter or Rogue One. It's not a happy story. The world of Event Horizon is not dead, obviously, with the comic miniseries, but there's also a possibility of more. While a sequel film had been talked about, it sadly never came to be. It would possibly follow the few survivors of the incident. And remember, the ship was still around at the end, at least part of it. But the possible continuation is in the land of streaming, like many things, with director Adam Wingard, the man behind The Guest and the last two Godzilla films by Legendary Studios, wanting to bring it to life from the pits of hell. According to him, there's a script all ready to go. It's just a matter of timing. While we may never get to view all of the hell that Anderson and his team created, we have enough to haunt our nightmares. And the movie makes it clear, hell isn't below us, it's above us, and sometimes within us.
They're with us.
They're with us.
Send a search and rescue team out there on their own and expect them to succeed. It'd be like sending an auto mechanic to work on the shuttle.
I fail to see how sending you would improve their chances.
I designed that ship. I put 14 years of research into that vessel. I spent the last 7 trying to work out what went wrong.
Your desire to redeem your reputation doesn't factor into this.
This isn't about my reputation. This isn't about me at all. The Event Horizon was created for one reason. You go faster than light. Without that, we can never reach new stars. We can never colonize new planets. Mankind's evolution will end here. 7 years ago, we didn't just lose a ship and a crew. We lost the dream. I have to go.
It's not that simple. Lyle, play the recording for Dr. Weir.
Navigation control tried to hail the vessel. This was the only response. Since that initial transmission, there's been no further contact.
Crew, could they still be alive?
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.